All right, guys, we're back at it. We're going to talk about Chapter 10, Lesson 3, Surface Area of Rectangular Prisms. We have a nice formula off the formula sheet that we're going to be using. Here's the rectangular prism. Remember, it is denoted by congruent rectangles as its bases. We talked about the volume. We went length times width times height. Now what we're going to do is figure out the surface area. So the volume was how much it would hold, capacity, surface area is if I wanted to paint it. How much paint would I need, right? So you're going to certainly want to reference this formula sheet. Okay, so with all that being said, let me jump into the Schoology page, make sure we're getting circled up here. We're going to go numbers 1 through 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then I'm going to jump 13 through 17. 13 through 17. We should be in good shape there. Don't need a ton of reps, but we need to understand this formula. Okay? All right. So, when we do this, we really need to write this down because we need to understand what we're looking for. So again, this rectangular prism, okay, and here's its bases, is laid out flat. This is what we call a net, an NET, and we have to be able to find the surface area from that, along from folded back together to a three-dimensional figure. So we're going to be doing both. Okay. So essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to see three different um, numbers. And what we have to do is kind of multiply all of them together, okay? And we have to double each one because, all right, we'll find the area of one, double it. Find the area of one, double it. Find the area of one, and double it. So let's go. So the first thing we're going to take is 2 times, okay? All right, and we're going to call this, all right, 2 times 2 times 2.4. Oops, sorry. And that's going to get us the area of this and the area of this. And then we're going to add that. Okay. And then we're going to say 2 times 2.4 and 3. Okay. 2 times 2.4 and 3. And I wrote multiplication a little bit different, and we're going to add that. Now I'm going to write this last piece. So what did that do? That took care of this one and this one. So now I need this and this. And the only thing I haven't multiplied left is 3 and 2. So it's going to be plus 2 times 3 times 2. So if we grab our calculator and get that out, again, I used a dot on the first ones and then parentheses on the other ones, you see. So let's see what we end up with here. You ready? 2 times 2 times 2.4 plus 2 times 2.4 times 3 plus 2 times 3 times 2 equals, and we end up with a surface area of 36 meters square. We're back to surface area, so it's square units. Okay, let's take a peek at number 2. All right, so number 2, again, we're going to multiply these two, and these two. Think of it that way. All right, if you're confused. 2 times 10 and 25 hundredths times 5 plus. You got to double it, right? 2 times 5 times 6.5 plus. The last two are these two. 6.5, 2 times 6.5 times 10 and 25 hundredths. And there it is. So now what we need to do is just plug this back in, and sometimes that's the hardest part, isn't it? 2 times 10 and 25 hundredths times 5, oops, plus 2 times 5 times 6.5 plus 2 times 6.5 times 10 and 25 hundredths equals, there it is. See it? So the area is 375 hundredths feet square. Okay? So you're noticing if you wanted to kind of draw on it, you're going to go here to here, multiply those two, and we're going to multiply those two. 2 times 15 times 7 plus 2 times 7 times 2 plus 2 times 2 times 15. That's how we find the surface area of this. So essentially what we're doing is finding the area of one, doubling it, find the area, and so on. And I showed you that on the net. Okay, and we'll do one more here. And let's plug them in. Let's go. 2 times 15 times 7 plus 2 times 7 times 2 plus 2 times 2 times 15 equals 298 centimeters square. Okay, hope that made sense. We're going to skip over number 4 and continue to work. We're just applying the formula that is on the formula sheet. It's just applying that, and you need to know how to do it. Okay, we'll try and get a couple more here. And let's focus on this net. Now, this net's kind of unique because it's a rectangular prism. Here's our rectangles, but it also has a couple squares, so don't let that confuse you. Okay? All right, so here we take a peeky. 2 times 14 times 14 plus, right, that takes care of that and that. 2 times 14 times 35, that takes care of that and that. 2 times 35 times, we need this, transpose it over there, 14. Plug all that into your calculator. Okay, in the advent of saving time, we end up with 2,352 yards square, and there it is. Okay, so we're getting the idea of this, focusing on the formula. I'm going to cut it off here because all we're doing is just multiplying the numbers, going through, always doubling the surface area of one side to get to the other, focusing and using this formula, length, 2 times the length times the width, 2 times the length times the height, and the width and the height. Or really, what I've always done is kind of draw the lines so I know what numbers to use, right? So anyway, wish you the best. Have a good day, guys.